Okay guys, so we are online at the moment and I'm going to just show you. We're going to start from the very beginning, and that's downloading it. I thought I'd show you how to do that because sometimes that looks more difficult than what it actually is. So we're going to start by going to this website here. Highlight it. That's the website you need to go. This is actually an online version, but I think the desktop version is so much better. You can do a lot more with it. So as you can see, I've already got login details because I was here when it was first started. Now what you want to do is go here where it says download, and if you click on that to this page, and you first of all select the machine you've got. Well, I've got the 1200, so is that what it's called, 1200? Yeah, I've got the 1200, and then what it will do is ask you if you're Windows or Mac. It does automatically seem to know, so it's probably going to pick what you have got, but just check it. So I do have Windows 10. You click OK. It tells you the latest model it has, the size of it, and if you agree to the terms, and you download. It tells you a little bit about it. Now luckily they do have details on telling you how you can download. So because we've clicked download, can you see down here? Let me just try and zoom in. Oh, I can't. So you just click on the arrow and click open, and what it'll do, it'll bring up this little box here. Do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device even? You do. Okay, so because I already had it, I actually had it open, so it's telling me I've got to close it. Okay, so I've done that. So we'll carry on. Okay, next. Click install to continue with the installation, and that's what we want to do. We want to install it. So this is a desktop version. You don't need to be online to use it, and you can do a lot more with it than you can with the online version. Text mainly. That is the one thing that changes my mind and makes me definitely want to do this. So that's it. It's set up, and now it's asking me to launch it. So it's going to start launching. This does take a while. It can do. I'm going to leave it in real time so you can see how long it does take sometimes. Yes, so the fonts, you can use any font on your computer in the desktop version, which you cannot use on the online version. They have only 8 to 10 fonts that you can use online. So I much prefer it because I do love my fonts. Now what happens next is that it's going to either ask if you need to set something up, or it will ask you to sign in. Because I'd already signed in, sometimes it does automatically open. So all you have to do is put in a username and a password. It is really as simple as that. So then you come up with this first, and this is the projects that they offer. They're all free. Well, most of them are. I've noticed there's a tattered lace one here, and I think oh no, this part of it is free, but you have to buy the parts to do it. It's just showing you how to do it, but the parts you need, you have to buy. So we'll go back now if you're looking at anything like this, this is what you need to download to do the piece, and this is the PDF version of how to do it, and this is the video of how to do it. So you've got details everywhere of how to do the project right. And if you're just having a look, you want to go back, you just click on there again, Canvas Project. And you'll see there are tons. I've actually done this one, the lampshade. It was pretty straightforward, to be honest, and it cuts out all the parts that you need, and then all you have to do is put it together. These are, if you want to put parchment or vellum, tissue, anything you want. We use parchment personally. That's what you need to do with that. And again, you've got the video that you can watch that tells you how to do it, and the PDF version if you prefer looking at writing. So that's that. I'm going to shut it down because I don't need it. And then I'm going to make this bigger. And this is the system. So what I'm going to do at the moment, I'm going to click on here because I want the shapes to go away. And then I'm going to click Display, Zoom to Mat Size, because then what it does, it makes the mat bigger, and that's a lot easier to work with. So we're going to just go around a little bit of the main program. This is if you want to bring back up the projects we just looked at. I'll show you. All it'll do is bring it back up. There we go. If you want one to look at. There's also pattern collections, but you need to buy them. I bought this one when I first started, and I'll be honest, I don't go there. I've virtually hardly ever used it. So I don't know if they're worth it. I would say not, because what I'm going to show you, you could do any of it yourself. So as you can see, there are loads of projects there, and you just click on one that you like the look of, and it'll tell you what you need to do to make it. Nice advent calendar, actually. So it's showing you what you've got to cut out and the videos. So there you go. I'll come off of there. So that's if you want to bring that back up. If you hover over anything, it is going to show you everything that you're going to need. Like that says shapes. There's more than shapes in there, to be fair. You've got your shapes, you've got your borders, you've got your words, and then here is stuff that I've paid for as extra. So foiling and embossing. I paid for the extra kits for that. So I just get a few things that are already set up for that's foiling. And then you've got region embossing, which is embossing the whole area, and line embossing, which is just embossing the lines. And you can swap between, so you can use these for the foiling, and you can use the foiling ones for the embossing. You can use it to cut out as well. It's, you know, it's suitable for everything. The borders are literally that, borders. You can make frames out of them, all sorts. I can show you further along, but yeah, we can make frames and shapes and all sorts out of that. And then there's the words. They've already put together a few words that you can use if you don't want to do it yourself. But you'll find yourself, like I said, believe it or not, you will find yourself not needing these because you're going to be really good at doing it yourself. I know you don't believe me, but you will be. So that's the shapes. The text, this is where it's different because you have the choice of text of what your computer has programmed in. I'm not going to press this because I have thousands and it takes ages for them to come up. But it's anything that's on your computer you can use. It's got to be a certain font, and it's called a true type font, because then that can be converted into a cutting file. So that's the text, and you've got a lot you can do with the text, but like I said, we're going to do that a bit further along. I just, at the moment, want to go through everything with you. SVG, that is if you want to import any of the SVGs you've got. So I've got all my scan and cut files here. This is my own work. Let's just try and find something easy. Oh look, I'll tell you what, I'll bring that up. I done it for my husband's 50th birthday, and it's like many different layers that you have to do separately, but you know, that's the sort of thing. You can if I go back on there, I go back to scan and cut, I have tattered lace SVG USBs, quite a few of them. Just change it so you can see it a bit better. And if you've got any of these, you can just go in, choose what you want. Just click on that. And then there you go. It comes up. You always go over the whole lot and press delete if you want to get rid of it. Or you can undo. See, if I undo now, it comes back because I deleted it. If I undo again, it goes away. That's the SVGs. This is image tracing. So if I bring that up, you choose an image, JPEG, whatever. Just any image from your computer, photo, and it will go round and make it into an SVG for you. Again, I'll have to show you how to do that later on. So that will be later on. What else? Okay, so this is Path Tools, and that is where you do line to line any way you like. You always double click at the end. And what I would do now is click on it and delete. But that's roughly it. And this one is to do the same thing but freehand. So I need to go back on there, and we're going to delete that as well. So that's them down there. This is obviously undo, redo. That's what you need it on. It's the select tool, and that's what you need on most of the time. This is to move stuff, which obviously I haven't got anything on there, but that's what it's for. This, you go on, you click, and it magnifies. You must remember, if you're on an item and you magnify, to go back to that, because if you click again, it'll magnify again. And then display, zoom to max size always brings you back where you started. So, for example, let's just get a shape. Actually, let's get a word. There we go. So I want to get in closer. I magnify. Magnify again. And then I go to that. Otherwise, it will magnify again. And then we can have a look and see that it's all okay. You might want to put a heart in the middle of it, for example. So we'll get the shapes and we'll go to the heart. Why has it done that? I'll explain that in a minute. I just want to show you this. I'm going to make the heart a lot smaller, obviously. So we'll put it in the top of the A, like that. And because we're close up, we can make sure it's fitting perfectly. And then display, zoom to max size. As you see, it would have been a little bit harder to place it right if we was this far away. So that's the idea of the zoom. This is just percentage of what the mat is. The edit tool is to, you can group, it's for grouping, and no, that's layer. I apologize. The edit tool is to edit. So you can select all, you can flip it, align it, do all that kind of thing. The layer is to group it, duplicate it. You can delete as well. I usually use the delete on my keyboard. Display is usually zoom to mat size, or you can hide the image, hide the grid. Snap to grid means it will go into this corner here, into the grid where it starts. And then the help is obviously for help sections. If we come over here, this is properties. So this will let you know, again, I'll just get an image on. I've just clicked the first one I saw. So it'll let you know it's on cut. You can choose to cut or to draw. If you're drawing, it's very good for drawing. If you have a universal pen holder, it's really good because you can use whatever pens you like. Now, if you're drawing, you can decide to fill it and it will colour the whole thing. So sometimes when I'm working with a lot of shapes, I'll also colour them to know the different parts so I can see a bit clearer. But it means it will fill it if you put it on draw like that. It will colour the whole thing in. Now the line depth, let me just go back to clear so I can show you. So we've got a black line and the line width is going to get thicker, can you see? So we don't really want that. We want it on 1. I always leave it on 1. The dash pattern is for if you want to do a dash line as a fold line. And there's several different ones to choose. My favourite is that one, because they're far enough apart and small enough. Sometimes the close ones together are more sort of perforate. If you want a perforation, that would be perfect. But to actually score, you want to keep them as far apart as possible. Otherwise, they come apart. But for cutting, it's always a straight line. And then the text comes up when you use text. So the next bit is the artboard. And this is where you edit the size. Maintain aspect ratio just means if you change one bit, if it's ticked, you change one bit, the other bit will change at the same percentage so that it keeps its shape. If you untick it, say let's change this, then it will just change that part. See? If we undo, click on it, otherwise nothing shows up, and we do that and then change that, it's just gonna, the whole thing will get bigger. The angle is if you want to turn it round. So 90 degrees, we've turned it round. Flip, that's flipping left to right. And that's top to bottom. But obviously that wouldn't change because it's the same, symmetrical top to bottom. Aligning objects is if you've got more than one. So if we layer and duplicate, we now have more than one. We put it like this and then do that. We need them centered so that they are equal. Then you would align it to the center, like that. If you wanted to align them one on top of the other, which if you're drawing something and you want to cut it out, one would be a draw file and one would be a cut file. And then you would do that, center both ways and one on top of the other. So you pick to draw first and then cut. And then again, you've got a line to the right, left, top, bottom, Now, distribute space is so good. If you had, actually, let's duplicate 2 more. If we done so that one was over there and one was over there, we don't have to worry about the other 2. We choose them all, and then we pick distribute evenly. Now we can see they're not evenly, like some are down here and some are up there. So then we want this one, because that's distributing, centering through the middle. So they'll all be in the same spot. There we go. And that distributes evenly. If you want a certain amount of space, this is the one you choose. So if we choose tiny amount of space, there we go. Or no space. And you can even go minus. Like that. See? It's very simple to use, and it does it all for you. So process overlap. It's let's just highlight one for now. So this is to weld 2 together. So let's put this one just so that it goes over the next one. And we pick both, click weld, and it'll make a pattern out of both of them. So that's welding. Putting 2 shapes together, that is very, very useful. This one is to divide. So if we put 2 together like that, and then click divide, it will take away the middle part and divide it all up. Again, we're going to undo. And also, if you have an object that's got a lot of different parts, then it will divide it all for you if you need to. Again, we'll go into more detail of that later on. This is just like the basic of what everything does. Now, this is remove overlap. So this is more like if you want frames. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to come back to that in a minute because I'm going to use it with the offset. So subtract. If we put this like this, okay, that's what we wanted. I apologize. So if we click on them both, press subtract, I've now got a moon. Because it takes, let me explain. It takes away the object laying over the top. It takes away everything of that object plus what it covers of the object underneath. So we got the moon. And that's how that works. Now, the offset is when you need a line, another one, either going around the outside or around the inside. Now we want the inside, so I'm going to do inward. Actually, let's leave it quite big. We'll do it at 16, and we want it round because there are round curves in it. Leave as is means you want to leave the original line there as well. Then you click OK, and see it's done a line around the inside. So that could now, if I click off, that could be a frame. But to make sure that we keep it like that, so that we want a frame and we want the space in the middle, because at the moment the space in the middle is a shape. This one is on top because it was the last bit we done. So we click on both, and this is where remove overlap. Now, it didn't look like anything happened, but if we click off, take that, and then we can't click in the middle. It's just one frame. Again, you can't click in the middle after that because it's not going to do anything. You have to click on the frame. So that's the remove overlap. You want to remove a part in there, like previously when we done the ant with the heart. If you've done that, it will take the heart out and leave that as a space. So it's for framing and things like that. So that's the difference there. If we was to try and say, that's the one we removed. Okay, let's use these. I wanted to do one inside that, and I just made it a little bit smaller. It wouldn't work exactly. That is even all the way round. This can't do that. I'll do it a bit smaller. As you can see, just making it a bit smaller doesn't do an effective line all the way round. So the offset is brilliant, especially for layers. You know, if you're doing layers, you don't have to then use the remove overlap. You want several layers. So you would go, right, you want it inward. I would go 8 for layers. So you do OK, and then that one you're going to do again. And then however many layers you want, mats, there you go. That is better than if you just make it smaller. It's not of equal size. It doesn't work. So the offset is what you need if you're doing yourself several mats of whatever you want. I think I have gone mainly over that. That's the biggest. These are layers, so whatever you've got on the board, each separate layer will be listed here. If I undo again and put them all on, you see there's several ones. Highlighted is the one you're on. If I was to click this one down here, it's that one. So if I was to click this one here, it's one of the middle layers. So it lists everything, and if you do that, it gets rid of that. So you can see a thicker layer. I potentially use this most of the time when I'm wanting to, if I've got a big project on there and I want to send it over piece at a time, then this is what I use it for. I remove the stuff that can't go out now, like that, and then I export that and then come back and do the rest. That is the simplest way of doing it instead of having to keep deleting it. Okay, so that's the layers. The last bit, that's the artboard, I apologise, and that's the size of your mat, the units that you want to do it in, inches or centimetres. If you want the ruler, there's the ruler. I like the mat as it looks so that you can really work out where it is. So you want to show the mat image, otherwise it just shows you the middle piece. I like the mat image so I can visualize it a lot better. Grid spacing I've got at inches. If you want it at centimeters, change to millimeters, and you want it at 10. Because obviously 10 millimeters. Let's just. That's a centimetre, but I personally always work on inches. So it's a lot easier for measuring. You know, you're doing an 8x8 card. It's easier to use this. So that is basically the entire system, and this is just us looking around. We needed to have a look around first. And then next we'll move on to some basic stuff that's going to be easy for you to use. Okay, so I'll see you in the next lesson.